This is the video for the August 2024 Regents exam for Algebra, the multiple choice 1 through 24. In question number 1, what is the correct factorization of the trinomial x squared plus 4x minus 12? There's two different ways that you could do this. You could actually do FOIL to all of the choices, or actually a third way, you could do reverse FOIL. What times what is negative 12? That adds up to negative 4. Or we could distribute, doing FOIL, first, outers, inners, last. Add together your outers and your inners. Positive 6x plus negative 2x is positive 4x. So that's why choice 4 would work. The easiest way to actually do this question is to take your equation, your original equation, type it into your y equals, type each of these choices into your y equals one at a time, and either graph them and find the match or hit second and table and find the match. When you do that, the one that matches is the correct answer. In question number 2, what situation can be modeled by a linear function? So if we graphed it, what would form a picture of a line? Well, when it forms a picture of a line, to get an actual line, you have to be adding or subtracting by the same number each time. So choice number 1 is the correct answer. A printer can print one page every 3 seconds. So plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. Every 3 seconds, it spits out a page. So that would form a line. It would not be choice number 2. Anytime that you see a percent, percents are never going to be linear because it's taking a different amount each time. It wouldn't be doubling because that's not going to be the same amount every time because it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger quickly. And then number 4 also has a percent. Percents are automatically not linear. We want something that adds or subtracts by the same number each time. In question number 3, which expression is equivalent or equal to that? Well, how they really want you to do it is to distribute so that you get 3x squared minus 6x plus 9, and then subtract the trinomial minus the trinomial. Well, you can line them up, put your x squareds underneath your x squareds, your x's underneath your x's, your constants underneath your constants, change the minus sign to a plus sign, change all the signs in that second polynomial, and then add going down. When you do that, you get choice number 4, negative 1x minus 9x plus 10. The easier way to do this is, again, the little cheater method. Type your equation, your whole equation, into your y equals. Type each of your choices into your y equals one at a time. Hit graph each time, or second and table, and find the match. That's the easiest way and quickest way to do it. In question number 4, at Adeline's first birthday party, each guest brought $1 in coins for her piggy bank. Guests brought nickels, dimes, and quarters for a total of $28. There were twice means 2 times, as many dimes as nickels. So 2 times the number of dimes. And 12 more quarters than nickels. More than means plus. Which equation could be used to determine the number of nickels x that are guests brought to the party? Remember that a nickel is 5 cents, a dime is 10 cents, a quarter is 25 cents. So 5 cents times the number of nickels, 10 cents times 2 times the number of nickels, all right, because it was twice as many dimes as nickels. And then for quarters, the value of the quarters, 25 cents times x plus 12, because there are 12 more quarters than nickels for that total of $28. In question number 5, a student creates a 4th degree polynomial. That means your biggest exponent has to be a 4 with a leading coefficient of 2. That means with the x to the 4th, it has to have a 2 out in front. And then a constant value, a plain number of 5. That trinomial could be choice number 1, 2x to the 4th plus 3x squared plus 5. It's got the 2, it's got the 4, and it's got the 5. In question number 6, looking at properties, when solving the equation, Laura wrote 4x squared equals 16 as her first step. Which property justifies her first step? So she started off with the original equation, 4x squared minus 16. If you're going to solve this, the first thing that you would do is plus 16 and plus 16. And that gets you to her second step, which is 4x squared equals 16. So what did she do here by adding 16 to both sides? Adding 16 to both sides is the addition property of equality. It would not be distribute. Distribute would have parentheses, and you take the number outside and multiply it by both of the things on the inside. It wouldn't be the multiplication property of equality. That would be multiplying the same number on each side. It would not be the commutative property. Commutative property would be switching the order and adding. In question number 7, which expression represents an irrational number? Type them into the calculator and find your answers. You can see my 4 different answers here. An irrational number is a big, long, ugly decimal. It is a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal. 3 is a terminating decimal. It's an integer. 45, same thing. This is a repeating decimal. Repeating decimals are perfectly fine. Repeating decimals are rational because rational are terminating or repeating. This is a big, long, ugly decimal. So that is your irrational number. In question number 8, which equation has the same solution as this? So what I did, I think it's easiest to graph these. You could actually find the answers, but I think it's quicker to do it the graphing way. You could do it algebraically, but it's going to take you a while. When you graph that original equation, I can see that my x-intercepts or roots or solutions or zeros are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at -8 and +2. If I graph this second one, I'm going to get the same exact x-intercepts or roots or solutions. So it's choice number 2. Remember, in order to graph it, we need to get it set equal to 0. That's what all this work is. I'm getting it set equal to 0 on both sides in order to graph it. In question number 9, the heights in inches of 8 football players are given below. Which box and whisker plot, or box plot, how they like to call it, represents this data? So type in the data into your stat edit L1 stat calc 1 variable statistics and look at your 5-number summary for your box and whisker plot. When I typed in these numbers, my min, my max, 69 and 78, that gets rid of these 2 choices right away because my min is not 65. So that gets rid of that choice. I see that my min and max are the same here. My Q1 and Q3 are the same, but my median is different. The median is 71.5. This one is not at 71.5. It looks like it's at 72.5, where this one is at 71.5. So choice 3 is the correct answer. In question number 10, a bookstore owner recorded the number of books sold and the profit made selling books. What is the average rate of change? When you do rate of change, you do the change over the time. That is very important to remember. So how much does it change over what amount of time? Now, time in this case is actually going to be the number of books sold. So in dollars per week between 100 and 350. So we're going from here to here. So how did it change going from 50 to 450, 425 rather? You subtract 425 minus 50 is 375. That's how much it changed in profit. Over what amount of books? Well, when we went from 100 to 350 books, that was 250 books. So change over time, top divided by bottom, is 1.5. In question number 11, if f of x equals x squared, then which function represents a shift? A shift is a translation. 4 to the right and 3 down. Well, choice 3 is the correct answer. If you subtract 4 just from the x, that goes right 4. If you subtract 3 from the whole thing, that goes down 3. So look at your min, which is your vertex. Look at how the min shifted. If we actually graph this equation, y equals x squared, that's what this one is, and then graph choice 3, which is this one, we can see that the min went to the right 4 and down 3. In question number 12, the amount of money a plumber charges is represented by the function P of H, so plumber in terms of hours, equals 45 plus 90H, the best interpretation of the y-intercept. The y-intercept is that plain number. It's your constant. The best interpretation of the y-intercept of this function is the 45. All right, it's $45. It's $90 per hour. All right, that's what that 90H is. We always multiply the amount of money that they're making per hour times the number of hours. But then there's normally some set fee, like a coming to your house fee, or some other fee, maybe for supplies or something like that. But that 45 would be good for coming to the house. It wouldn't be per hour that he works. We always multiply the amount per hour times the number of hours, and we're not multiplying that 45 by anything. In question number 13, what is the solution to that inequality? The first thing that you would do, you're just solving for m, so we want to get rid of the parentheses, distribute, distribute, and then we want to get all of our letters onto one side, so subtract 2m from both sides. Those cancel out. So now we just have a two-step equation. Always get rid of your plus whatever or minus whatever first, so minus 12 minus 12. Negative 4 minus 12 is negative 16. Bring down your inequality sign, bring down your 4m, divide by 4, divide by 4. This is written backwards. Be very careful. We have to keep what's on the left-hand side on the left-hand side and keep what's on the right-hand side on the right-hand side. All right, when those 4's cancel out, we're left with just m here. The mouth of the inequality is open towards the m. The mouth has to stay open towards the m. When we write an inequality, the letter always have to come first, so we have to flip things around here. We have to flip the inequality sign as well. That's why it's choice number 4. In question number 14, approximately what percentage of students who chose the Broadway theme were girls? So just looking at the Broadway theme, I could care less about the beach party. I could care less about Hollywood. Just looking at the Broadway, there are 147 people total who chose Broadway. What percent were girls? Girls were 68, so 68 out of 147. Remember, you always do the part over the total. All right, so 68 over 147, top divided by bottom, you get that big long decimal. And if you round by moving the decimal point over 2 places, you get 46 point blah, blah, blah percent. That's really closest to 46. Notice that it said approximately, so you're not going to get that exact number. In question number 15, just type it right into your calculator. Sum means plus. Remember, difference means subtract. Product means divide. Product means multiply. Quotient means divide. So the sum, just type it right into the calculator. See what you get. All right, when you do that, you get 19 and some change. The only one that is 19 and some change is choice number 4. In question number 16, you're given 2 functions and they're graphed on the same set of axes. Notice that that's what I did. I graphed them right away. What are the solutions? The solutions are the intersection points. What are the solutions to the equation f of x equals g of x? So we want to know when it asks for the solutions. Remember, solutions are your x values. So they cross at -2, 0. So -2 is an x value, and they cross at 8, whatever. So they cross at 2 and 8 as your x values. When they ask for solutions, they're talking x. In question number 17, given these 2 equations, then which polynomial is equivalent to the product means to multiply, of those 2 things? So we need to multiply that trinomial times this binomial. Distribute, 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 distribute. All right, we get these 6 terms. Add together your like terms. I can add together the a squared with the a squared. I can add together the a with the a. We end up with this polynomial, which is choice 4. There is another way to do it. You could type in this original red product of those 2 things. You could type this right into your y equals right here, and graph it, or second in table, and then take your choices and do the same thing and graph and second in table and find the match. If you do the original equation in choice number 4, the table and the graph will match. In question number 18, what is the equation of a line that passes through that point and has a slope of -2, slope of +2? Well, when we take choice number 1 here, which is the correct answer, I didn't circle it, we want to get it equal to y. So add 7, add 7. We now have 2 times x minus 3 plus 7. I want to get rid of those parentheses. So distribute, distribute, and then add together my like terms here. -6 plus 7 is 1. Well, I end up with this as an equation, y equals 2x plus 1. The slope is the number that's in front of the x. Your y-intercept is your plus or minus after the x. So if I go to graph it, I'm starting off at 1 and I'm going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And when I do that, I end up at 3, 7. So it has a slope of 2 and it goes through that point. We could also double check this by typing second and table, typing in that equation, hitting second and table for your points, and you'll see 3, 7 in the table. But choice number 1 is the one that does it. In question number 19, a geometric sequence. Geometric sequence is multiplying by the same number each time. Arithmetic would be adding by the same number each time or subtracting by the same number each time. So which one has a common ratio? That's the number that we multiply by each time of -3. So figure out this one is adding by 3, so that's not it. That would be arithmetic. This one is subtracting by 3. That would be arithmetic. This one's multiplying by +3, where this one's multiplying by -3. In question number 20, when the equation 6 minus ax equals ax minus 2 is solved for x. So we want x equals. The result is what? So we want to try and get the x all by itself. This one's a little bit tricky. The first thing that we need to do is get all of our x's on the one side. So I like to keep my x's positive. So I'm going to do plus ax and plus ax. This is really 1ax plus 1ax, which is 2ax. Bring down my 6, bring down my -2. Get all my constants on the one side, so add 2 and add 2. So 8 equals 2ax. That's 2 times a times x. So I want to divide by 2, then divide by a and divide by a, because that's really a times x. So I get 4 divided by a equals x. In question number 21, you could do this in one of two ways. You could set each of these. We want to know the zeros, all right? Remember zeros, x-intercepts, roots, solutions of -1, 3, and -4. If you go and graph this third equation, this is what the picture looks like. Notice that it crosses at -4, -1, and +3. So that would be our answer. A different way to do it is to set each of those sets of parentheses equal to 0 and solve for x. -1 would make it equal to 0, 3 would make it equal to 0, and -4 would make it equal to 0. I would just graph it and find the match. In question number 22, the expression 5 to the a plus 2b is equivalent to what? Well, when you multiply with exponents, you really add the exponents together. So 5 to the a power times 5 to the 2b, that's really, I could really do 5 squared there, which is 25. That's why it ends up being choice number 2. Probably the easier way to do things is choose numbers for a and b and sub them in. If I choose, for example, a equals 3 and b equals 4, if I sub in those two numbers, and you could choose any two numbers you want, all right, I chose 3 and 4. I sub them in and sub them in, and I got this as an answer. That's really 48 million and some change. Do that for all of your choices, and notice that this one matches. All right, that one matches. That's an easy cheater way to do it. All right, what they really wanted you to do was split it. All right, to be 5 to the a power times 5 to the 2b, and then figure out that 5 squared is really 25. All right, that's really what they wanted you to do, but I would just use that cheater way, sub in values for a and b. That one was a hard one. Number 23, in an arithmetic sequence, the first term is 4, so that's what you're starting off with. The third term is -2. What is the common difference? Well, how do you get from 4 to -2? I need to subtract by 3, subtract by 3. When I subtract by 3, I get to 1. Subtract by 3 again, I get to -2. The common difference is what you add or subtract by each time. So what is the common difference? It would be -3. And finally, in question number 24, in these type of questions, all that they're asking you to look at is they're looking for you to look at the final label. Well, you can cancel out, just like in choice number 3 here, you can cancel out numerators with denominators. They don't have to be in the same fraction. They can be in different ones, and they always are. So we can cross off cubic feet and cubic feet, cubic feet and cubic feet, gallons and gallons. Go across the top, go across the bottom. So numerator, 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 we end up with feet to the 6th power gallons over pool gallon loads. What we really want here is the number of truckloads of water to fill the pool. So loads per pool. That's what we really want. Loads on the top, pools on the bottom. So when we do number 4, we end up with loads on the top and pools on the bottom. These other ones don't make any sense.